Hi guys, in this video we're going to discuss about SME. Now basically there is no such thing as SME in the tax law, but it's often used in practice to refer to a small company. Now being a small company, what are the tax advantages that you're going to get? What it takes to be a small company, what conditions must I fulfill? Now let us start with the privileges or the advantages. The first thing we often recall as the advantage of a small company is the preferential tax rate. Now you will basically be paying tax at 17% on the first 600,000 of the chargeable income, and the excess will be 24. As opposed to if you're not a small company, you will be paying tax at 24% on all your chargeable income. Now, the next thing that we see is actually the advantage on capital allowance. Now, we know that there is this thing called small value asset. And small value asset refers to assets that the value does not exceed 2,000 ringgit each. Now, let's say you buy a laptop computer and the price is 3,999. So, is this small value? No, it's not. But let's say you buy a typewriter that the cost is exactly 2,000. Is this small value? Yes, because the value did not exceed. So that means anything that maximum is 2,000 is a small value asset. Now, what's the difference if you have a small value asset? We know that you're allowed to claim 100% annual allowance, meaning you won't claim IA, but you will claim AA 100%. But the maximum is 20,000 per year of assessment. But you know, if you're a small company, then your advantage is you can have an unlimited claim of 100%. So what basically you're getting is a faster speed of claiming the allowance. Now, the third advantage of a small company is in terms of tax compliance. You know, every company is required by the law to furnish tax estimate and make monthly tax installment. But if you're a small company, right, you actually be exempted from this requirement for the first and the second year of assessment. Well, it's just a temporary benefit, but it will help small company to save on their cash flow. So what it takes to be a small company, what conditions must you fulfill? Now, I'm going to start with the law. It says that a company resident and incorporated in Malaysia, which has a paid up capital in respect of ordinary shares of 2.5 million ringgit and less at the beginning of the basis period for a year of assessment, and gross income from source or sources consisting of a business not exceeding 50 million for the basis period for that year of assessment. Now, there's a couple of issues that I would like to discuss with you. We're going to talk about timing, the ordinary shares condition, and also the annual revenue test. Now, timing. The law clearly said that it's based on the beginning of the basis period. So let's say we have a company called Fantas and Remberhard. The year end is 31st July. So on 15th of August 2020, it has increased its paid up ordinary share from 2 million to 5 million. So is this company small or not small? Well, it depends on the year of assessment that you're referring to. So 15th of August 2020 is applicable for year of assessment 2021 because the year end is 31st July. But you must understand that the beginning of the basis period for Y 2021 is supposed to be 1st of August 2020. And what is your paid up ordinary share on 1st of August 2020? It's still 2 million. So the company is small. Okay? Now, the second thing is it's based on ordinary share capital. So let's say we have a company called Mango and has a paid up ordinary shares capital of 1.2 million. And on 10th of March 2020, Mango issued 5 million of preference share as part of its fundraising for business expansion. So does this affect its SME status? The answer is no, because the size of the company is measured based on ordinary share capital. Now, the third test is actually the annual revenue test. It has said clearly that the turnover or the sales from business source or sources must not exceed 50 million for the basis period for the year of assessment. So the first thing we normally check is, do you have business source? Now, if the answer is no, for example, ABC's and Rembrandt has only rental and interest income, and this company, because you do not even have business, according to the Inland Revenue Guideline, you will not be able to enjoy the preferential tax rate. You will pay tax at 24%, meaning you will not even be regarded as a small company, regardless of your paid up ordinary share. Even if ABC has just 1 million ordinary share capital, you will still pay tax at 24%. So take note of that, yeah? Now, let's say you do have business source. Now, then the next thing you must ask is, does the gross business income exceed 50 million? Now, take for example, XYZ has a Malaysian business where the gross income is 20 million, as well as the foreign business that the gross sales is 35 million. So how much do you use to measure the 50 million? Is it just the Malaysian source or all the business sources? Answer is all the business sources. The law didn't say that it's only Malaysia. So in that case, XYZ will have a gross sales of 55 million. So can XYZ be regarded as a SME and enjoy a preferential tax rate? No. But if let's say we have another company called DEF, that the Malaysian business gross income is 45 million, and in addition to that, the company has a Malaysian gross rental income of 8 million. Well, we only measure based on the business income, so the rental is not taken into account. So is this company DEF qualify as SME? Answer is yes. Right, so I have discussed the main thing with you about the law, conditions about timing, conditions about ordinary share, conditions about annual revenue. But of course, there's a lot of other conditions there, like resident, incorporated in Malaysia, but this is kind of straightforward. Right, the third conditions that we have to see, it's the group structure test. Now, basically, a company will not be a small company as long as any one company in the group has a paid up ordinary share at the beginning of the basis period which exceed 2.5 million. Now, the interesting thing is when come to this part of the law, it did not mention about revenue exceeding 50 million. Well, I do not know whether it's intentional or probably when they changed the law, they have forgotten, which is kind of common in our Malaysia tax situation. Now, you see in front of you, there's a group structure. A. Sdn Bhd owns two companies, B and C. Now, A clearly owns 60% of B, so B is the subsidiary to A. Right, let's say C is a company with ordinary share capital of 5 million. So does owning C will affect the SME status of A and B? Well, it depends on how many percent of shares that you own in C. Now, if let's say A only owns 30% of C, then you must understand that C is not your subsidiary. You're not part of the group, right? And if you're not part of the group, it doesn't matter. So A, B, they will both still be SME because their ordinary share is just 2 million, which did not exceed 2.5. But let's say if I change this shareholding to 70%, now you have a problem. Because once you own 70% of C, C become a subsidiary to A, and now in the group, when there is just one company in the group, it doesn't matter which company has paid up ordinary shares more than 2.5 million ringgit at the beginning of the basis period, then all the companies in the group will not become SME. So A, B will now lose the SME status. Now, let's say C, it's just a company with ordinary share of 2 million. So it looks fine, right? Because all the three companies are just having 2 million, 2 million, 2 million, and none of them have paid up ordinary share exceeding 2.5. No issue. Now, what if I add these additional conditions and I'm telling you that C, its revenue is 55 million, and assuming this is business, okay? Now, will this affect the SME status? Yes. It affects the SME status for C Sdn Bhd alone. Now, will A and B remain as SME? Yes, they will still be SME. So that's what I mean by when it comes to the group structure test, it does not include the 50 million annual revenue requirement. Okay, right. I hope this gives you an overview of how do you determine whether a company is SME and not SME. Thank you guys. Enjoy. Happy revising.